Alrighty, in Exodus chapter 20, verse 17, it reads this: You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. So covet in this case, it means to lust after or to long after for something with a great desire. And but pretty much like this commandment, it's pretty much not to set our hearts on anything that does not belong to you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact definition of the word called envy. And that differs from jealousy because jealousy, you already have something along the lines of that. But envy, you do not have it. So you really want it so bad because you don't have it. And pretty much the word envy, it means like pretty much a longing resentment for possessions and qualities, like towards like the other person. For example, envy, like it leads to harsh feelings. And resentment, very like much like hatred towards the person who has what you desire. But also, since we're talking about the Israelites here, and potentially us, yes, us as well, um, we can resent God as well, because like we resent him because he did not bless us with that. And that makes us question him whether he loves us or not. And like for example, it's like, God, why did you give them that thing? It's like, do you love me as well? If you love me, you'll give me that as well. Why did you give them that and not me? And so you pretty much feel left out or a resentment towards God now as well. But at the root of envy, the very root of envy is the love of self. And so that this all will tie back to the commandment to do not covet what other people have. But like for this one is like it's the love of self that is the root cause of why God had made that commandment in the first place. Because of course the commandments are there because God wanted his people to be set apart, holy and righteous from other nations, and he didn't want them to copy them, but to copy God. And so you're just having a society that's built upon selfish, like people who love themselves and who are envious. It's like they won't really see big picture, and so they'll only be after what their interest is and not after what anyone else thinks. And so a society like that, it crumbles. And so God, like he made this commandment because he wanted people to live in a strong society that is like the cure for envy is content. So he wanted them to live in a strong society that is content because who was it who saved them from Egypt? God. Who was it who provided them food and water in the desert when they were traveling to the promised land? God. Who gave them the promised land? God. And so this is a good example that's summed up in 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 6 through 8, and it reads this: But godliness actually is a means of great gain when accompanied by contentment. For we have brought nothing into the world, so we cannot take anything out of it either. If we have food and covering, with these we shall be content.